All right, so let's start with a big story that we're tracking on WION at this hour. The President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, and First Lady of the United States, Melania Trump, have both tested positive for the COVID-19 infection. The President made the announcement via a tweet and added that both of them have quarantined themselves. And this happened after one of Donald Trump's closest aides, confidant and advisor, Hope Hicks, tested positive for the COVID-19 infection. Hope Hicks had traveled with the president to an event in Ohio in Cleveland for the presidential debates earlier in the week. Now, Donald Trump's physician at the White House has posted an update on the condition of the U.S. president. Dr. Sean P. Conley has written that both the American president and the First Lady of the United States are doing pretty well at this point of time. Conley further has stated that he expects the president to be able to continue carrying out his duties without any disruption while he goes through the recovery process. The White House has also issued a new schedule to reflect several cancelled events. Trump's fundraiser in Washington and also a campaign rally in Florida have now been cancelled. The news also has had a bit of an immediate impact on the U.S. futures markets. The Dow Jones has slumped by about 1.7%. And the broader S&P, the Standard & Poor Index, has also shed about 1.6%. The diagnosis marks a major blow for a president who has been trying desperately to convince the American public that the worst of the pandemic is behind them, even as the cases continue to rise. The diagnosis could also amount to a serious known health threat to a sitting American president in decades. 74-year-old Trump is at high risk for the deadly virus, both because of his age and also because he's considered overweight. He has remained in good health during his time in office, but is not known to exercise regularly or to follow a healthy diet. If Trump becomes too ill, then Vice President Mike Pence will have to take charge. In that case, if he too were to get infected, then the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, would of course be the next in line to take charge. Mike Pence attended a White House coronavirus task force briefing with Donald Trump on Monday, but had skipped the presidential debate. In a tweet, Pence has wished the president and the First Lady a full and a swift recovery. The Pence has said that he's sending love and prayers to Trump and Melania Trump. And India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who's also a pretty close friend of Donald Trump, has also tweeted out wishing good health for the American president.
Founding of the United Nations.
Now, ironically, the diagnosis has come just a day after Donald Trump had predicted that the end of the pandemic was pretty much in sight. Donald Trump had made the statement during a virtual annual fundraising dinner for Catholic charities.
We mourn for all of those who lost a loved one, and in their memory, we will defeat the virus. Through advances in treatment, we have reduced the fatality rate by 85% since just April. We are on track to develop and distribute a vaccine before the end of the year, and maybe substantially before. And I just want to say that the end of the pandemic is in sight, and next year will be one of the greatest years in the history of our country.
Now, Donald Trump and many of his aides have shunned practices like social distancing or even wearing of a mask. This even had happened during the first presidential debate on Tuesday. Donald Trump mocked his rival, Democrat nominee Joe Biden, for frequently wearing a mask in public. Now, Trump has held rallies with thousands of people in recent weeks in the run-up to the elections, despite warnings from health professionals against having events with large crowds. All right, now to give us more insights as to how all of this will play out and what ramifications this is likely to have politically, we're joined by political analyst Arsen Ostrovsky, who's joining us live from Tel Aviv. Now, Arsen, let me begin by asking you this. This was something that Donald Trump perhaps would not have expected at all, and it has come at a time which is just exactly a month before the 2020 presidential elections. Try explain this to us. How will this play out during Trump's campaigning in the last 4 weeks before the elections?
If I have to be honest, I don't have a lot of answers, and I don't think too many people at this stage have that many answers. We are in some incredibly, uncharted uncharted waters. You think that just when 2020 has thrown everything there is, along comes this bombshell news. So, I think at the moment they're taking day by day, as you noted in your introduction. Importantly, the White House doctor has just confirmed that both the President and the First Lady are currently feeling well, that they're in isolation in the White House, and that the President is expected to continue carrying out his duties as expected. That will, of course, be monitored closely. In the event that the President is unable to, then, of course, then Vice President Trump, and after him, it's Nancy Pelosi and the President of the Senate. The issue is that that Hope Hicks, President's senior advisor, who was diagnosed a few days ago with a virus, she has been in contact with, of course, with the President. The Vice President has been in touch with in the Oval Office for the President as well.
Right.
We know that Hope Hicks apparently met with Nancy Pelosi. So it's really putting the next days and weeks in an absolute tailspin. There's a debate that's coming up again. It's unclear if there will be ahead. There will be campaign events which have now already been cancelled in a number of very important swing states. So in a lot of ways, the campaigning for President Trump will be halted, at least for the next week or so, in the manner that we've come to expect. So there'll be a lot of questions asked about his health and about ability to manage the virus moving forward.
Absolutely, indeed. At this point of time, according to the White House doctor, Donald Trump is doing pretty well, so he will be able to continue carrying on with his duties as normal. At this point of time, that is the latest update from the White House. But Hassan, I want you to weigh in a bit upon, the kind of impact, just the fact that Donald Trump testing positive for the COVID-19 infection is likely to have on the elections in the United States. Because pretty much the whole of the campaign in this election was how effectively Donald Trump had handled the coronavirus crisis. The Democrats have accused him of having been a complete disaster. The president initially had laughed off the virus, saying that it's nothing more than a little flu. But now he himself has tested positive for the COVID-19 infection. How will the American public view this?
I think we'll have to wait and see how he comes out over the next 10 days or so. Look, honestly, I think at the end of the day, people's opinions are very much set. Those who are going to vote Biden, their minds have been made up. And those who are going to vote President Trump to re-elect him, notwithstanding the situation with the corona, I think their minds were made up as well. So in the event that President Trump and the First Lady come out of this in full health, I don't think it will affect the outcome of the election terribly much, if at all. The question, though, becomes, of course, if the president's health, it goes downhill, and then how that will be affected. Then we have a whole Pandora's box of questions. But at this point in time, in the event that the president comes out of it in full health, I don't believe it will have any significant impact, because at the end of the day, we know, and the people know everything that has happened, and notwithstanding, I think the people's minds have already been made up how they will vote.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Arsen Ostrovsky, for joining us from Tel Aviv and getting us all those insights. This, of course, is the big development that we will continue to chart. The President of the United States of America has tested positive for the COVID-19 infection. We, of course, wish him good health and a quick recovery. But how will all of this impact arguably one of the most crucial elections in recent American history is something that needs to be seen.